Okay, we're back on this path because David has some comments about the last video, and we made a comment at the beginning about this power line. I don't know what you call it.
Yeah, just this like wayfare, this
Yeah.
opening that they have
For
where
power
the power
line.
lines cut through. It's a tree-free zone. It's a telephone poles have priority, or line poles have priority, because you see there are no trees. It's just brush.
Yeah.
And the argument that was made, because we said that if you wanted to crisscross the country, this is one good way to do it without, going on. You don't want to go on open roads. You don't want to be out in the street. Let's say something happened, grid's been down for a couple of months, there's no utilities anyways, there's no more fuel, trucks aren't running, and you're like, all right, I got to get out of here. This would be a good way to do it.
Yeah.
And you know where you are. They cut across state lines. These kind of power lines crisscross all over the country.
Yeah.
And you kind of know where you are. Like right here, that's straight east, going this way actually. And the argument that was
point
made
again, because I didn't.
Oh yeah, straight
that's
down
going
there.
east.
That's going straight east.
Yeah.
Now, the argument that was made was, oh well, you're way out in the open. People will see you for miles, right? And if you look down here, you can see that clearly, and that's pretty far off. That's freshly cut down there.
Yeah.
This is this side hasn't been done for a couple of weeks. Look at it. That's the point. Is that it's regularly manicured. If the grid's been down for a couple of months, this is going to be over your head.
It's always almost over your head now.
This side is kind of clear because
you can drive through
this is a separate utility road that they use all the time. But under normal circumstances where these power lines cut through, they come through with crews pretty regularly, and they sweep it out so that utility trucks that need to access the lines can, if something happens. It's just regular maintenance, like when they when they cut down the sides of the roads on the freeway. But this is what happens when they skip a couple of weeks. If this were to be skipped for a month or two, you wouldn't see anything in here.
And this is usually low because it's a creek. You can't see it. But when this is low, you can walk all the way to the edge of that creek back there, and you see a lot of deer and other wildlife back here.
There's deer in here, and you can see them, but they haven't bothered with it for a few weeks for some reason, and it will get worse. Yeah. If it's high enough, nobody's going to see you, and nobody's probably going to be looking through here either. And the other thing that you could try also, and that's something that you had brought up, was, I talked about it in a video a couple of years ago actually, it's been a while, is abandoned railroad tracks. Yeah. It's they crisscross all through the country also, not current operating tracks, because people will think of that, the average person will think of that, but there's a lot of abandoned tracks, thousands of miles of it. Some of it's been repurposed into walking trails. Yeah, and biking trails. Yeah, and a lot of it has not, because it's so remote, and it goes through areas of the country that are so wooded that if you got lost, there is no signal. If somebody goes off the trail and follows tracks that nobody's been on for a decade or longer, because some of them go all the way back to when they were building the railroad. They're still out there, and a lot of it is still technically railroad property. Something to point out, this is technically utility property. So if you want to explore out here, just be aware of that. Yeah. Odds are, if a utility came through here, they'd just tell you to get lost. But I need to point that out, in all fairness. If the grid's down, it ain't gonna matter. But those tracks, if you are sure of your direction, even though it may be seriously overgrown, it's still a path that you can follow, and it will lead somewhere. And another thing, you want to think, because some people are like, oh, you'll be seen and you'll be sitting ducks and all kinds of stuff. But you have to think about it too. The average person in a grid down, they're not going to walk through this brush. No. They're not going to walk anywhere where they believe, oh, I can step on a snake, it's bugs, it's spiders, I don't want to walk through high brush, grass, and all of that. They're going to stay on a roadway because it's easier to walk on.
If you have a bike, you can ride your bike on a road.
Yeah.
If you have kids in a stroller, a wagon, something with wheels is not going to go through here. You can walk through here, but you can't push anything through here.
Yeah.
And again, the average person, and think about the average person, the people you work with, people in your family, people in your neighborhood are not going to walk through woods.
Think of water. The average person's going to take the path of least resistance. Most people, they're not going to wade through this.
Yeah, they'll see this and turn around. Now, if the whole way looks like this little road piece or further back, they'll try it. But once it starts looking like this, and it's like this the whole way for 10 miles, forget it. They're going to be like, I'm not going that way. I'll stick to the highway.
Yeah, and you know, especially if you're cutting through urban areas, you're in more trouble cutting through an urban area than you are cutting through something like this.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what's behind what window. Walk through even a suburb, and there's like a couple of dozen houses on each side. How many windows is that? Somebody could be sitting way in the room back behind there watching, and you have no clue until it's too late. Out here, at least you have a chance. Somebody hears you or sees you and you drop down, let them come in there and find you.
Yeah.
You know, it's, if you know what you're doing, then you know what you're doing, and enough said on that. But again, it takes, you know, it does take some training and some practice and some experience to wade through this kind of stuff. You know, we get out here and we do this, and we exercise a lot anyway.
Yeah.
And we're fit for it.
And we purposely walk through this to get acclimated and to get used to it.
And through the thicker brush as well. And somebody was asking about going through that quietly. Now stop for a second. There's a different way to do it, and I'll show you here really quickly where you can cut through. And I know I'm not on the high grass, but if you
record your feet.
If you lift your knee up and shift forward like this, you can move through grass quietly and leave quietly. The thing is that most people, they're not going to have the leg strength to really do it.
Yeah.
To really kind of just to be able to lift and plant your way through and stay low like that, or be quiet enough that you're not going to be heard too far away.
And the best thing to do is practice now while nothing is going on. It's important to get yourself into shape. Do exercises, a lot of leg exercises, squats, leg raises, stuff like that that you would have to do to walk in a area like this. And I'm looking at David. You can kind of see him now.
Yeah. But as I can get down in it, and I'll fade into here, and through thick brush like this, there'll typically be deer tracks.
Yeah.
And there's actually a couple right through here too, where they muscled all the grass down.
Yeah, you almost can't see him now at all. So right now, if he was to hide, I can't see him. I mean, I can see him because I know exactly where he is. But if I'm just walking through here, I couldn't see him at all. You know, and that's what you want. You want to be hidden. You want to be hidden. You want to be invisible. And if the grid goes down and you have to sleep outside, if you're walking, you want to make sure you leave the area clean. Don't drop toilet paper, napkins, paper, water bottles. Don't leave trash, because that'll tell somebody, oh, people have been through here. You might have a campsite set up or something, and you're just letting everybody know that people are around. So you want to make sure that you leave a zero residue site as you walk in through, if you make up a campsite or something like that.
Yeah, and you can hear it a little bit, but most people wouldn't be mindful of it if you're moving slowly enough.
They'll think it's an animal.
So move how you need to move, but if you feel like somebody sees you, slow it down. Slow it down, start planting your feet, keep it in a sweeping motion, in and out.
And don't walk blindly.
Yeah.
Don't just walk. Watch your foot. You might have sometimes you have vines that crisscross and you walk into it and it's a lot of thorns on it.
Or there could be a booby trap.
Could be a booby trap. Could be an animal, a snake, or could be a dead carcass. You don't know. So when you walking, look at the path. Look ahead, but also look in front of you or at your feet.
I've startled a buck in here a couple of times.
Yeah.
Got closer than he expected, and then suddenly he pops and runs.
Yeah.
Which is kind of fun.
Because, I mean, you can't see, we haven't been through here in a minute, but you can't see that creek at all.
No,
and it's it's a big creek. It's not like a little stream of water. It's a big, wide, deep creek, and you can't see it at all.
You can tell
see
where it is because
yeah, see all that green.
How it's a lot more
grass.
lush over there.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna try and show you, but it's all right. But yeah, it's back there. It's a nice sized creek. But yeah, they haven't cut back here in a while. I don't know why, but I guess it got off of the thing. But anyway.
Yeah, but you get the point.
Mm-hmm.
If it's overgrown enough, nobody's going to see you, or they shouldn't. And you've got plenty of cover.
Yeah.
You got plenty of cover in that tall grass. All you got to do is just stop and wait and be patient. Move quickly when it's time to move quickly. Move slowly when it's time to move slowly. Or, you know, mostly, I don't really advise moving at night anyways under those kind of during the daytime under those kind of circumstances. You'd be better off finding a really good place to hide during the day and resting, and then traveling at night anyways.
Yeah.
And, you know, even if it's overcast, you've got the lines to follow if you know where they're going.
Yeah, and even at night, you can't see, but you will run into a pole. These poles are every couple 100 feet. You can look up, you can see the lines.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's dark, you can't see, but you can see those poles and you can see the lines. So, and again, just think of alternatives. If your plan is to do some walking, you might be bugging out, or if you're going to run some missions during the day or night, some alternatives, something other than walking on the road.
Yeah.
Come up with another plan. The power line is one, like we said. Old abandoned railroads is one. I don't know about riverbeds because a lot of people hang out by water sources.
Yeah.
So you might want to be careful.
In those circumstances, they'll be going back and forth to water sources.
Yeah. So you might want to be careful with that. But think of alternatives to just walking along the road.
And it's just an issue of thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
And that's all we're doing here. You know, you may agree or you may not. And if you don't want to do that, you don't have to.
Yeah.
That's just, people had asked about it, and we were just elaborating on that point. So I guess if there's nothing else, then what more can I say but stay frosty, folks, and thanks for watching.